Mr. Speaker, I rise today, sadly, to honor the life of one of my dear friends and a friend to many, many in the 1st Congressional District and all throughout Southeast Georgia, Milton H. Woody Woodside. Woody was a beloved resident of Brunswick in Glenn County since 1973. He was born in Clinton, North Carolina. During his early adulthood, he graduated from the Military College of South Carolina, or better known as the Citadel, in Charleston, South Carolina. He was so proud of the Citadel. He had many friends that he always visited with and he kept in touch with from the Citadel. He always talked about his experiences at the Citadel. Luckily for us, he moved down to the coast of Georgia, where he served as president of the Brunswick Golden Isles Chamber of Commerce from 1985 until his retirement in 2019. He served 23 combined years in the U.S. Army and the Georgia Army National Guard. He also served on the congressional staffs of former Representatives Bo Ginn and Lindsey Thomas. Woody brought this valuable insight back to our home district, where he served as past president of the Southeast Georgia Chambers and Developers Council, and he was chairman of the GEDO Region 11 of the Governor's Development Council. He was involved in countless other organizations, including serving on the boards of the Southeast Georgia Health System, the board of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce Executives Association. For his work, the Georgia Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives awarded Woody with the well-earned Kent Lawrence Professional of the Year Award in 2000. In addition to receiving countless other awards, one stood out, wrapping up all his achievements into one. For 9 consecutive years, the Georgia Trend magazine named Woody a notable Georgian. Woody is rightly accredited with also being recognized as Glenn County's best friend for his hard work in serving the community. His instruction and oversight were critical for construction of the Sidney Lanier Bridge and the establishment of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center that's located in Glencoe, Georgia. He was also instrumental in major economic development projects in the community, including the Brunswick Harbor deepening, Gulfstream, and he contributed significantly to the growth and success of our region's tourism industry. Without a doubt, Woody's actions were noticed and appreciated by others throughout the community. He was that great guy, touching countless lives and always willing to lend a helping hand. He wasn't one to just talk about a problem. He was the kind of guy who found solutions. Mr. Speaker, speaking for the entire community, his contributions and his community leadership will forever be remembered. I'd like to extend my condolences to his family, Ellen, and to his daughter. The positive light that Woody brought will forever be cherished. I'm so blessed to have called him one of my best friends. Mr. Speaker, in our lives, there are people and places we remember. I will always remember Woody Woodside. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.